There comes a moment in every human life when the world goes quiet, not because the noise has stopped, but because you finally hear something louder than the chaos around you, the faint, undeniable echo of the person you were meant to become. Most people never hear that voice. They drown it in fear, in excuses, in the noise of other people's expectations. But a rare few pause long enough to feel the truth rising inside them. You are not shaped by your circumstances. You are shaped by the decisions you make about who you choose to become. And that decision, that quiet internal declaration, is the birthplace of every dream that ever mattered. Think about it. Edison didn't wait for the world to believe in him. He decided to become the kind of man who could pull light out of darkness. Henry Ford didn't wait for approval. He decided to become the man who would bring horsepower to the common man. Disney didn't wait for permission. He decided to become the storyteller of imagination itself. Every titan, every creator, every empire builder began with a single moment of internal alignment. This is who I will be. This is who I must become. And this decision, the decision of identity, is more powerful than talent, opportunity, or luck combined. Because your identity governs your mindset governs your choices govern your habits. And your habits, they build your destiny brick by brick. But here is the truth most people refuse to face. Your identity is not something you discover. It is something you decide. If you don't decide who you are, the world will decide for you. Your past will write your biography, your fears will become your limitations, and your comfort zone will turn into your cage. So, the real question is not, what do you want? The real question is, who must you become to deserve the life you want? Because desire without identity is daydreaming. But identity backed by decision is transformation. When you decide you are disciplined, your actions change. When you decide you are worthy of success, your standards rise. When you decide you are unstoppable, obstacles become puzzles instead of prisons. Human beings do not move toward goals. They move toward their self-image. If you see yourself as average, you will behave as average. If you see yourself as a victim, life will always feel unfair. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will sabotage your own blessings. But if you see yourself as the architect of your destiny, you will move like a creator, a builder, a warrior of purpose. And that shift, that single shift changes everything. The thing Napoleon Hill understood, the principle that echoes through every page of his work, is this: identity precedes achievement. Belief precedes possibility. Decision precedes destiny. The power is not out there. It was never out there. It has always been inside you, waiting for a moment of courage, a moment when you stop negotiating with your fears, a moment when you stop playing small, a moment when you finally whisper to yourself, enough. From this moment forward, I decide who I become. And that decision demands clarity, the kind of clarity that burns away doubt like fire to dry leaves. Clarity about the life you want to build, clarity about the values that will guide you, clarity about the habits required to sustain the identity you choose, clarity about the sacrifices you must make and the battles you must fight, because becoming your higher self is not a conversation. It is a war against your weaker impulses, your excuses, your craving for comfort. Every champion lives in conflict with who they used to be. And when you decide who you become, you ignite that war not to destroy yourself, but to reinvent yourself. You stop asking the world for permission. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop relying on chance. You step into the arena of life, armed with a decision so powerful that doubt has no room to breathe. A decision that rewires your mind, a decision that redefines your boundaries, a decision that elevates your energy, your focus, your drive. A decision that tells the universe, watch me, I am becoming who I was born to be. Because the moment you decide who you become, something extraordinary happens. Your mind begins rearranging itself to match that identity. Your thoughts shift, your emotions sharpen, your attention narrows onto the things that matter. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start seeing evidence of your future instead of shadows of your past. This is not magic. This is psychology. This is the same truth that carried men like Carnegie from poverty to power, that lifted Lincoln from heartbreak and loss to the presidency, that transformed ordinary people into legends of human achievement. A mind focused on identity becomes a magnet for possibility. But let me give you the truth most creators hide, the truth Napoleon Hill uncovered through decades of interviews. Identity only becomes real when it is reinforced with discipline. Not motivation, not hype, not feel good affirmations, discipline, the quiet, invisible, relentless force that chiseled greatness into the lives of every person you admire. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. It is the daily handshake between your future self and your present actions. When you choose discipline, you choose transformation. When you reject discipline, you reject your future. There is no middle ground. People look at the successful and whisper they got lucky, but luck is just the name the undisciplined give to the disciplined, because they can't comprehend the hours, the lonely, brutal hours, where greatness is carved in silence. Think of Walt Disney sketching characters under the dim light of a borrowed lamp. Think of Elon Musk sleeping on a factory floor because the mission mattered more than comfort. Think of every entrepreneur eating rejection for breakfast yet showing up again and again. They weren't chasing goals. They were honoring identity, because when you decide who you become, discipline stops being a punishment. It becomes a promise to your future self, a promise to the life you are building, a promise to the dreams that depend on you to survive. And with discipline comes clarity, with clarity comes purpose, with purpose comes direction, with direction comes momentum. With momentum comes transformation. But here is something deeper, something most people never realize. Your identity determines your environment, and your environment determines your destiny. When you decide to become disciplined, your habits change. When your habits change, your environment changes, and when your environment changes, your life changes. You stop spending time with people who drain your energy. You stop engaging in conversations that diminish your vision. You stop entertaining distractions that pull you away from your path. You start creating space for growth. You start surrounding yourself with ambition. You start carving out silence, focus, and intention in your daily life. Because one truth becomes impossible to ignore. You cannot become a new person in the same environment that built your old self. You must outgrow, you must evolve, you must shed the parts of your life that no longer align with your chosen identity. This is why so many people stay stuck. They want the transformation, but they cling to the environment that keeps them small. Growth demands release. Identity demands elevation. Success demands a new ecosystem. But the moment you commit, truly commit, every force within you begins to align. Your habits sharpen. Your discipline strengthens. Your inner dialogue changes. Your expectations rise. Your energy shifts. And that shift, that rising, that internal awakening, is the beginning of the life you've always sensed was possible. Because the truth is simple, you do not get the life you want. You get the life that matches the identity you decide to embody. Every day you are writing your destiny with the choices you make. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. And when those votes align with a higher standard, your reality cannot help but transform. This is why people who truly decide, who decide with conviction, with clarity, with emotional fire, become unstoppable. The world cannot break a person who has already chosen who they will be. Failure cannot defeat someone who has already identified as resilient. Rejection cannot discourage a person who sees themselves as destined. Obstacles cannot slow someone who believes they are meant to rise. Because once you have decided who you become, you stop reacting to life. You begin shaping it.